Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the live stream. How you doing? How you doing? I'm Jim, and this is Pest Control for the People. Okay, Pest Control for the People. I'm a licensed pest control technician in the state of New York. Obviously, not across the whole country, across the whole world. I'm not an expert on everything, but I do. I've got about 6, 7 years experience, and I'm going to run through carousel items. It's that time of year, okay, when it gets cold at night. We all know what happens. Mice expand their range, and they start getting into things they shouldn't, and they end up being in your pantry, in your basement, in your cupboards, in your silverware drawer, or wherever it is. You don't know where they're coming from or where they're going, but all of a sudden you have them, right? So we're going to go over a couple of things about mice. We're going to go over a couple of things you can do for mice. Again, it's not rocket science. Okay, it's not rocket science at all. Okay, it's something that has to be done on a regular basis, recurring basis, because what happens is people forget to do it, and they end up back in the boat where they were before, where they're infested again. So mice chew. They chew through everything, right? They can chew and get into anything. They're also can get flat, and they can get as small as and get into holes the size of a dime. All right. So they can climb walls. As a matter of fact, I can show you a picture of them climbing walls. Hold on a second. If you're going to freak out if I show you this picture. Here we go. If I do this and pause it so you can see it. And then if I come over here, it's sometimes you got to bear with me because I'm a one-man show. All right, so there's the mouse. He's on a brick wall, running straight up the brick wall. Okay, now if a mouse can do that, what defense do you have against a mouse? Okay, they can climb right up your walls. All right. And babies are having babies in 8 weeks. They're having babies in 8 weeks. By the time they're 8 weeks old, they're having babies. They can have 100 babies a year. All right. And their teeth never stop growing, so they always have to gnaw on things. So they're always chewing. They're always trying to find their way through, and they poop and they pee over everything. So then that's how they follow each other around, through their poop and their pee. It's called a pheromone trail, and they follow each other around. And so even though you're snap trapping and glue trapping the ones that are in your house, they've left a pheromone trail. So the ones on the outside of your house smell that trail and follow it right the same way in and find their way in. Matter of fact, they'll go to the same glue trap spot every time because the pheromone trail is bringing them right there. And you think you're catching mice, but really you're just harvesting mice. They just keep coming in. So we're going to work on getting control of that situation for you today. We're going to get control of that situation. You can do it yourself. It's not rocket science. I provide about 20 services a day, 5, 6 days a week. This stuff works. What I'm going to tell you works. It's a forever thing. It's something you have to keep up on. Like I said, your house is always under pressure from mice. Okay, every 8 weeks the babies are having babies, and around your house the population of mice grows constantly, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get control of that population. We're going to get control of what's going on around the outside of your house. Once we do that, there'll be no mice left to come inside. So how are we going to do that? The first item I got in the carousel today is the Protector RTU, ready to use RTU mouse bait station. Okay, it's a little hard plastic. Okay, it's hard plastic, and it's made to fit in the corners, and it's small enough so that a mouse can fit in it, but nothing else. And it's really hard plastic. A dog won't be able to chew into this or whatever. And you put a little block of bait in there, like you see in the picture, right? And you put this in your basement, and on your sill plate, on your kitchen sink, wherever you're seeing droppings in your attic. And they're going to go there. They're going to eat that bait, and they're going to die, right? And I'm going to go over certain baits that we can use and how the baits work and what they do. And some of the store-bought bait that you get, the Tomcat and that kind of stuff is like a one-time kill. So they eat it, and they're dying in your walls, and then all of a sudden you get a smell, and it's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. But these are the RTUs, Protector RTU mouse bait stations that you're going to put on the inside of your house, and they're going to control the infestation, what's going on, the active infestation inside your house. Okay, but that's not all. That's not enough, because like I said, the pheromone trail, the outside mice are going to find that pheromone trail and follow it right in to the same place every time. So what you would be doing is just harvesting mice, but we're going to work on that in a second. So the next item I got in the carousel over here is the bait that I'm going to tell you to use. And that's it's by Bell Laboratories. Bell Laboratories is a big company, contract all weather blocks. Okay. Now this, a reason that this is good, okay, is it's an anticoagulant there's an antidote for it. So obviously it's a poison. So if a dog or a kid or God forbid something happened where somebody got into it, vitamin K is the antidote to this bait. So and dog food, dry dog food has vitamin K in it. So if your dog's eating dry dog food, it's not gonna affect them. And by the same token, if the mice are eating your dog food, they're not going to die. So make sure you're taking your dog food up, keeping it in chew-proof containers because if the mice are eating dog food, dry dog food, this bait's not going to kill them. Okay, so it's a vitamin K deficiency, causes them to bleed to death. Basically, what happens is they feel ill, right? And when they feel ill, the natural instinct is to search for water. So they're going to go outside and search for water where their natural water sources are, and they're going to die outside. Um, what was I just going to say about the bait? This is a good bait. We use this bait because it's got the antidote to it, and also secondary poisoning is like next to nothing. Okay, as far as like if the mice are eating it and a bird of prey, an owl or something eats the mouse, you don't have to worry about secondary poisonings. All right, this is a real friendly bait to use. All right, and like I said, a vitamin K shot would fix you up if you, God forbid, ate it. Okay, you of course you're not going to eat it. But the next item I have in the carousel is the outside stations. Now, these are the protector landscaping stations. They look like plastic rocks. I don't have one here. I have it out in my truck, but they're about this big and they look like plastic rocks. You can see it in the picture there. And a matter of fact, I do have a video of me using it right here. Let me see, of me putting them together. So they come in a box and you got to put them together. But share my screen. All right. So they come in a big box and you got to put the rods in them. Right. And what happens is you put these on the four sides of your house, okay, one on each side of your house, and you anchor them into the ground. I'm going to show you the anchors in a few minutes, and they start establishing these as food sources on the outside of your house. Once they start putting the pheromone trails to these babies, right, they won't be coming in your house anymore. They'll be going here, and instead of going to the ones in your house, they'll be going to the ones outside the house. And as long as you keep those filled with the bait, and you could do that monthly. Okay, I come out on a monthly basis. I'm going to fill that up, right? So you just keep coming out on a monthly basis. Now there's four rods in each one. You can put four pieces of bait in each one, and that usually lasts the month for sure. Because mice and nibblers, they're not going to eat the whole block of bait. They're only going to nibble on it, and one nibble is enough to kill them. There's a lethal dose in one nibble, but it takes 3 to 5 days for this particular bait. The Bell Laboratories contract blocks takes 3 to 5 days for them to die. So they don't realize what's killing them. They don't become bait shy or bait resistant. Okay, so you can keep using this bait with confidence. All right. Um, Very cool. I'm going to show you another picture of it. I think, and that's how the bait sits in the rock station. All right. Now, if I share my screen again, if I look for another, uh, and just so you know that they work, I'm going to show you a picture of uh, of a friend inside one. I have like 5 or 6 pictures of mice inside. You can see him, he's right here, right? He's in there. You can see them nibbling on the bait. The corners are all gone on the bait. The bait was square, now it's round. They've been nibbling on it, right? And you see they brought nesting materials inside there, and they were nesting up. And so they establish it as a food source, and they start going there. And of course, they die after they eat it. But the ones on the outside find the pheromone trails and go right to the bait stations, right? Very, very good program. And of course, once it gets control of what's going on around the outside of your house, you're never going to have an issue inside your house. Really cool. But then once you have no activity inside, okay, when you're confident, there's no more droppings, you vacuumed up the droppings inside, and there's no more left, or you're not seeing anymore, hearing it anymore. You're going to want to do a seal out, and that's you're going to use the copper mesh. Okay, copper mesh. People used to use steel wool. Steel wool will rust and it'll leave rust stains on the house sometimes. So now we're using copper mesh. This stuff is pretty cool. I have some right here, right? And I have a little bit of it here, and this is easy to tear. You would think copper mesh, but you just rip it. You rip it up and you boil it up into sizes, and you twist it to whatever size you need, and you stuff it in whatever holes you have. And I'm going to show you a video of me doing a little bit of an inspection of around somebody's house. Where is that video? Here it is. I'm gonna sh I'm a one-man show, and it takes, like, 3 steps for me to share anything. So, but here is this is the corner of your house. This is, like, the aluminum siding on both sides, and this is the corner piece of the aluminum siding. I'm up on a ladder. So, um, they run right up the corner here, all the way up from the ground to get into your attic, and if you see, there's the soffit. If you notice, they've chewed hole through the vinyl. They've chewed the whole thing away, and they're going in and out of the attic. They're running right down from the bottom of the foundation straight up into the attic, okay, right from the corner there, right? And they get right up under there. So you're going to stuff the copper mesh in there, right? You're going to stuff the copper right there is how they're getting in. They're running right up the side of the house. Now you also check all along the foundation. If they can get in, you got to stuff it or use copper mesh or foam. I got foam coming up in the carousel as well. We'll move over to the foam. Oh, what happened? Share the screen again. All right, we're going to go back because you missed that part. And then in the corner again, it's loose. They can get right on. Watch, I'm going to slip my hand right up there. So a mouse can get up there, no problem, right? And again, the corner vinyl, the corner piece, there's nothing in there. You're going to stuff that with copper mesh. They can run right up the siding of the house. Now, wherever your utilities run in, your air conditioner, your gas line, your electric lines, look at this hole in the side of this person's house where the mice can just get in, right? I mean, you get to stuff that with copper mesh or fill it up with the foam or do something to seal that up. You don't want it. And there's a rock station outside someone's house, what it looks like sitting. So, it doesn't look like a bait station like you see around the restaurants where people would know what it is. It looks like a regular landscaping station that people would use for irrigation or whatever. Really good system. Get control of what's going on around the outside of your house. All right. Now, if you have a really serious issue, all right, you would want to use some of these snap traps inside at the beginning. Just to get a hold of what's going on. Okay, you want to get a hold of what's going on the inside of the house. So you would snap trap them, but you don't. This to me is a little bit of a dirty business. I wouldn't. You got to empty out the dead mice and everything else. With the baiting system, they're going out on their own. They're dying out of sight, out of mind. You just put the bait there. They're eating it. They feel ill. They go outside and die outside, and you never have to worry about it. Okay, you never have to worry about dead mice in a glue trap, chewing their legs off, and all those nasty things that happen. Right. So, I mean, some people want to see them dead and they want to use the snap traps. By all means, do so. But just keep in mind the other thing too is the mice are going back and forth from these bait stations, and they're bringing bait back to the elderly and to the babies in the nest. So if you snap trap it and kill it, then the babies are eventually going to get older and come out where you would had the opportunity to kill them earlier, where you wouldn't even have seen them. But now, because you snap trapped them, now the babies are going to come out looking for food and whatnot. All right. So um, it's a science. It's not rocket science, okay? And it's something that anybody can do. But the key here, the key and the absolute key is vigilance. Okay, the bait stations have to keep filled at all times. All right. Now I highlighted the anchors. These are the anchors that go on the rock stations on the outside. You anchor them into the ground so that raccoons and skunks and bears can't get into them, flip them over, dogs or neighbors, kids, or whatever. You got to be careful. So these things are called duckbill anchors, and you anchor them, you drive them into the ground, and they'll hold the rock station in the ground so it can't be taken away, stolen, or whatever, or vandalized. Okay, you don't want these things to get vandalized. Oh, well, we're gonna cut it short.